We have an amazing person here. Amazing. She is an Amazon best-selling author. And I would like to introduce her right now. Please welcome to the stage, Jacqueline Ann.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, guys. I'm so happy to be here tonight.
I'm so glad you're here. So glad. This is awesome to have you here.
Wow.
And this girl has quite the following between Instagram and all the social media platforms that you have. She is bold in her faith to God. And yes, absolutely. And she did this great book called Water Lilies.
Yes.
And as you can see right up there, this is some of her writing called Conversations with God. So what inspired this, Jackie? What inspired it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I've always loved writing my entire life, but being able to bring my faith into my poetry was next level for me. Like, I would write about love, just talk about life, but then when I started realizing, okay, there's a deeper part of myself, my relationship with God, and I want to bring that into something that I enjoy doing. So on my page, outside of posting about different things that people enjoy reading when it comes to reading poetry and different themes, I started trying out some of the Christian, some of the faith-based poetry, and it started resonating really, really well with a lot of people, and people started reaching out saying, I really enjoy this conversational style format in a sense where it's short, it's concise, but it's impactful, and it's deep in a sense where it's intimate, that relationship. And I think a lot of people in this room tonight can attest to having those moments of intimacy and conversations with God, where we sometimes feel like He's speaking directly to us, speaking directly to our sufferings, and some of the troubles we might be going through, some of the excitements we might be experiencing. But ultimately, this was a manifestation of me wanting to bring that to my writing and show people, like, yeah, I guess on paper I might have a good life, but I struggle, and I had talked to God too. And there's so many things that are important to me to learn, and having that relationship with God and being able to be receptive to Him channeled through my desire and my love of writing. And so that was something I wanted to share with people.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? And you take a real risk by doing that, because you could offend people, but I know you have to have a testimony of someone that might have read your work, but maybe even around the world somewhere, that might have maybe got a hold of you, written to you through one of the Instagram platforms perhaps, and said, you know what, something you said might have saved my life, or something you said totally changed my direction. Can you please explain that?
Yeah. So I have two stories that stick out to me the most, and one of them was actually pretty recent. The first one was, I had I guess there was a day that I was like, I felt this inclination or desire to want to post on my story and put it out there and say, hey guys, I don't do this often, but I'm going to take some prayer requests. What do you guys need me to pray for you? And, I think we all could use prayers, so the requests started funneling in. And I got like over 200 replies, and that to me was just eye-opening. I'm like, I asked people to share something with me, and many of them shared very vulnerable needs that they have, that they're asking God for. And it's just very, it really humbled me in that sense. I'm like, wow, they open themselves up. Some people are saying, my husband lost his job. My son is struggling with drug addiction, and I can't seem to help can't get through to my daughter or my sister, or, we're losing our home and things like that. And these are really tough things to solve overnight. But I do remember, and I told my parents and I told many people, this doesn't happen often, but I did have this voice in my mind, in the back of my head, calmly saying, every prayer you pray for each one of these people, I will honor it. And I'm like, what? Some of this stuff is like, this is heavy stuff. And I didn't know, it's not my role to know the impact of how God chooses to honor and to answer those prayers. But I will say, within the next week, 2 weeks to follow that post that I did, I got at least 15 to 20 messages back through my page saying, intercessory prayer works. What you did
Isn't that awesome?
worked. I found out I'm not going to this state for my job. I can now buy this. My husband didn't lose his job. I was taken back. I'm like, I had chills when I read some of these messages because I'm like, this is beyond me. This is beyond doing what I love. This is God working through me, and this is God working through us, people that are receptive to Him. So that was a very eye-opening testimony for me.
And you're going to have a lot more, I'm sure.
And I have another one. Yeah, this one's a little bit more heavier. This was an individual, so I had posted something, again, not often, where I will take some of my posts, and I went to my direct messages, and I took a recent post that I posted, and I just sent it to like the top 5 people or so that were in my recent messages. And I got a message back from someone that said to me, hey, did you mean to send this to me? And I'm like, okay. I'm gonna be honest, like I just sent it to the top like 5 people in my messages, but then I started to go back and I realized we don't really have a conversation history. I never really developed a relationship with this person. I don't really know them that well. Why did they pop up on my recents? I just sent something to them. So I said, well, why do you ask? She said, well, I've been praying in the last 24 hours to God to give me a sign because I had everything I needed. Tomorrow night I was gonna hang myself. And then I had a pit in my stomach. I was like, okay, we don't know why we're in the positions that we're in, but God knows why we're there. God knows why He puts us at the right time, at the right place, to be and help and guide and heal the people that need it the most. And being receptive to that it's a gift in itself to do that. So.
That's what it's really all about, right? We're coming together. The world is falling apart. Have you seen America lately? And here we are, all different races and ethnicities, and we are getting together under the name of love. And that is God, because God is love, correct?
Absolutely.
So I know you did something special for us today.
I did.
And I'm not going to say too much about it, but she penned, is that the right word?
I guess we could do that, yeah.
She penned a poem just for Worship United. So I'm going to let her read it, and I'm going to step aside while you're reading it. And I just have to say, right there, I love it. I'm nervous. One day I will run out of creative ways to glorify you. But this is God saying, you're nervous about losing a gift I gave you that you want to use to serve me. Honestly, your book is here, right? You have some copies?
I have some copies of my book.
You have some copies. Make sure you get that
Thank
book.
you, Bobby.
And your poem.
Thank you. So this is a poem. It's called Our Music. Perhaps it is our music that sings a melody, a harmonious pitch rich in perspective, worthy enough to underscore the halls of heaven because of the humility that it takes to choose peace and prioritize love. And perhaps it is our music that strips the body down to the spirit, breaking the walls of our isolated rhythms, binding us in common truths that evil would prefer we forget. And perhaps it is our music that unlocks the chains of guarded hearts, gracing them to join a sacred symphony conducted by our one and only good Father. And perhaps it is our music that ignites the human soul, blazing with flames of the Holy Spirit, incinerating the chaff of worldly chaos that calcifies on the top layer of our skin. And perhaps it is our music that paves a road toward heaven's gates, leading the lost to discover the route they've been searching for, to find their way back home. Oh, but perhaps it is our music that disrupts the mission of all demons deployed to divide the souls that are gathered in God's name. For it must be in our music where this world becomes a better place, where all are welcomed, all are loved, and all are saved by the gift of grace. Thank you guys so much.